Hi, and welcome to Cable Crushers, the bi-weekly show where we talk about the big three internet cable alternatives. My name is Mitchell Brinkley. Over here to my right is Adam Fleeman, and at the far right is Fred Swan. We're going to be talking about Hulu, we're going to be talking about Netflix, and we're going to be talking about Amazon. Now, to kick things off, we're going to go to Fred. He's going to talk about Amazon. Fred?
Thanks. So, the piece of Amazon that I'm going to discuss is their new TV series that are coming out. Amazon Prime has been doing a set of pilots for television series, original content, and what they do is they put out all these pilots, and you can watch them if you on Amazon Prime Instant Access, and then you vote, and then whoever gets enough sufficient votes, they go ahead and they greenlight that pilot.
No, I didn't know they were doing that.
Yeah. Actually, they have 4 shows that have been piloted this time around. They do this every couple. They're going to be doing this a couple times a year.
They've done this with Zombieland when that came out as a television show, and they've done this before,
right?
And it's worked fairly well for them.
Right. It's highly expensive to make a bunch of pilots like that and to premiere them and to stream them, but then they get something they know people will watch because people have already seen the pilot and committed to it. Mm-hmm. 3 of those shows that have been greenlit by this process this time were The New Yorker Presents, Just Add Magic, and The Stinky and Dirty Show.
That one sounds good.
It's a kid
really?
show.
Okay.
It's a kid show, guys. So,
all right,
but the 4th one is the one that I'm actually going to talk about in review. I actually watched the pilot. It's The Man in the High Castle.
I like this one.
It's really, really good. I'm going to go ahead and say that before I say any of this other stuff I've got prepared.
Now, I have not seen that yet, so I'm interested in hearing what you have to say about it.
Okay. Well, just to give you a very brief synopsis. Essentially, The Man in the High Castle is based on a novel by Philip K. Dick, who wrote the novel that was the basis for the movie Blade Runner, for example, for our audience, Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep? And it is an alternate history in which the Axis powers won World War II. But not only that, they conquered the United States. And it talks about how the world is after that. It is set in alternate history 1962, simultaneously in New York City and San Francisco. Essentially, the Nazis have control of the East Coast running up to an area around the Rockies. Japan has the West Coast. Once again, all of the West Coast up to about the Rockies, the Rocky Mountain area.
Neutral zone,
is
right?
a neutral zone.
Mm-hmm.
And where neither party is. And they kind of live in this kind of Cold War mentality. And it follows the story, stories of 2 different people living in these various regimes.
Okay.
I'm going to say it's very good, very well done for a pilot. If this were on TV, it would be a number 1
I think so.
show.
What do you think would make it a number 1 TV show? A hit TV show on cable?
The acting?
The acting is excellent. That was one of the points I wanted to bring up. It's it's very well acted with not a lot of big names. Almost nobody that I recognized. Another thing that was really good was their use of cinematography to build tension. There was a lot of times where you could tell that if you watch film for this reason, you could tell they placed the camera in certain places to heighten the suspense of a scene. For example, there's a scene where a young lady is watching a film and they don't show you the film. Okay. They show you her watching the film and her reaction to it. And her reaction, because it's so, once again, well acted, makes you want to see what's going on. Could you just turn so I could see? And Hitchcock used that technique. M. Night Shyamalan, when he wasn't total crap, used that technique.
Okay.
And there's a lot of things like that. Also, they don't treat the audience like they're stupid. And what I mean by that is there's not a lot of expository dialogue. The opening scene, the credits, is essentially telling the story of the Axis powers conquering the United States, but it doesn't tell you that story. It's all visual. It's a map of the United States showing the Nazi flag coming this way and the Japanese flag coming this way, and it shows these pictures of paratroopers falling into New York and a nuclear explosion at some point.
It is a smart show.
Okay.
And it doesn't explain anything. They talk about things like they really would talk about them, as opposed to a lot of times you talk about things in movies and television shows to explain it to the audience, but you're saying it in ways you're like, I know about that, dummy. Why are you telling me? No, they say, you weren't there when the bomb dropped in 52. What bomb dropped? Where did it drop? They don't tell you. You have to learn these things as you go, and it's spoon-feeding you this information.
It's really, really good. He recommends it, I know. I definitely recommend it.
I definitely recommend at least the pilot. They've got one viewer. When it comes out in November. They did greenlight it. They have shot it and made it.
Do you think that this would be a contender with House of Cards, Orange is the New Black?
Absolutely, especially with the House of Cards crowd.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely. Okay. It's got historical elements to it. It's got geographical elements to it, and it's beautiful. It looks really good. The filters they use when they're filming it, it looks like a high-budget television show. That's not a CSI spinoff.
Okay. Well, we don't need too many of those. Yeah.
It's a smart show. It's obvious they put a lot of care into the little details. For example, a lot of the clothes don't look. It's set in 1962. They look like mid-40s clothes, as if a nation were stunted in its economic development, kind of like Germany was after World War II. There are a ton of parallels between real-life Germany after World War II and fictive United States after World War II.
Okay.
A lot of ways in which buildings are very run down. A lot of their references seem very dated for the time. It's because they haven't been accelerating economically. And so that kind of detail, especially to a guy like me, really adds a lot. So for a lot of reasons, I highly recommend the show. I could talk about it for another hour, but I'm sure you guys are more than done with me talking about it. And
this is Man in the High Castle.
The Man in the High Castle if you have an Amazon Prime subscription, go ahead and check it out. Pause the video. We'll be here when you get back. And write in the comments. Tell me whether you think I got things right or wrong, or whether there are things that I didn't mention. But definitely check it out.
I'm going to talk about Netflix. Like I said, it's been a big month for Netflix. First thing is they increased their price by $1 for new subscribers. What do you guys think about the price increase?
As someone who uses Netflix often enough, I mean, $1 increase every couple years isn't that big of a deal to me, but it's almost... At the same time, it's almost as if they're slowly turning up the heat on the oven while we're just cooking in the frying pan there. I mean, I think that if you're going to give us that extra money, or if you're going to make us pay that extra money, you need to make sure that you are providing everything you possibly can to make that work.
There's my next topic. They've just made a theatrical movie. Now, they offered it to theaters. Theaters turned it down. And we were talking about this before, and I said, we were kind of like, why won't the movie theaters take this movie? And one of the sites I was looking at, basically, it was Wired. They said that Netflix told the theaters, and that's Regal, Amstar, all of them, said that they were going to release it in the theaters and online at the same time.
Okay.
Which cuts into movie theaters' profits, I think.
Sure.
Yeah.
I can understand that when I first read the story, it didn't mention anything about releasing it online and in the theaters. If I was involved in movie theaters and I depended on money for movies, I wouldn't sink my money into something that's going to be released online also.
I don't know. I mean, of course, this isn't exactly movie theater crushers, but at the same time,
Yeah.
I mean, I would say that when it comes down to people who love the movie theater experience,
There is an experience.
You cannot. You can't tell me that a good movie is better seen at home than in the theater, depending on what system you have and what television you have at your home.
Fred's got kids, so
It depends on the movie. Even a quality movie, it doesn't really matter whether it has a big screen or big. If it's not a big special effects for me and my family and my budget, you know, it's not. If it's a big special effects bonanza, you
IMAX.
know, right? IMAX, you know, like if I'm going to see like the Avengers, I'm going to go see, you know, the next Mission Impossible 3 or whatever. I want to see that because it was shot to be seen in this big thing. But if it's like a documentary,
Right.
or if it's a drama or a rom-com or something like that, then
I can understand that.
I'm
because-
kind of excited for this format. I'm just telling you, because if we're going to get, maybe not call them theatrical releases, but movie releases from Netflix, because this started with, you know, Netflix making series, and they did it well.
Right.
You know, I think this movie is going to do well. And the name of the movie, oh my goodness, the name of the movie is, crap, I forgot. Beast. They're calling it Beast of No Nation. I just saw the preview for it earlier with you guys. It looks awesome. It looks good.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
I wouldn't mind a Netflix and chill night. I'm just saying.
okay,
saying.
wait a minute.
That's totally different.
But I would actually watch the movie.
Okay. Okay.
I would actually watch the movie.
Well, what is that about? You said you saw the preview. What do you know about it?
It looks like children being turned into soldiers. Looks like Africa. It looks raw. It looks a little raw. It looks like it could hurt some people's feelings.
So it's about child soldiers.
Yeah,
in
child
Africa.
soldiers and how they brainwash the children. It looks like they go in depth on how the adults brainwash the children to go out and kill.
Okay. My only thing about it, you know, and I would say this, I guess from a movie theater perspective, is how many people are actually going to go and watch it, regardless of whether or not it's on Netflix.
You're right. It is low budget. That was in one of the stories I read. It was only it only took $6 million to make, but Netflix also paid double what other companies, I guess, in Hollywood were going to pay for the story. They paid double for it. So the preview looks good. I don't know how much that price was, but I think it's going to be good, and I think it's a positive step forward for Netflix.
Well, it might be in the sense of, you know, they're increasing their repertoire of content to put out there. At the same time, I really don't think that my $1 extra a month should be spent making movies that I may or may not care to see, when there's so much content that I want to see out there that they should be providing me that they're not giving me because of contract issues or what have you.
We'll have the same conversation if Netflix puts out a superhero movie. That's worth your $1.
Well, okay, so, you know, we all know that Netflix has Daredevil. They're coming out with Jessica Jones,
Yep.
Luke Cage. There's a flurry of Marvel television shows that are coming out, and they're gearing up for their all-encompassing Defenders, because they are all Marvel heroes who took on the role of Defenders, just like, you know, your Avengers. Now, if they were to gear up for a movie featuring all of them, then maybe, yeah. But see, here's the thing. That is something that fans are actually wanting, and that's something that Netflix goers, who casual watchers who stumbled upon the Daredevil, love Daredevil. I haven't heard too many complaints.
I enjoyed it.
If that model follows with all of the rest of the superheroes, and then they say, hey, y'all want to see a movie based on all of these? A full-length movie? All you got to do is just make sure you fork over that $1 extra a month. People would say, well, sure, why not?
And Netflix is still competitive because it's still cheaper. It's still cheaper than the alternatives that are out there, unless you do the free Hulu.
I will say, I feel where you're coming from on that. I feel like this is a very, very bold move on Netflix's part, because look at the things that have been real hits for them. Orange is the New Black was based on a novel, so it already had a following. House of Cards was based on a British show,
right.
So they already knew that the formula worked. They just had to convert it for U.S. politics, but the formula already worked. This is something that, and they've got the Daredevil and all of those Marvel series. Those are good. Built in. Right, Sense8.
Sense8 is good.
Sense8 was probably there, and you can probably get into that a little more next episode. I would love to hear more about that, but that was probably more daring of the things. That was kind of like another step. This is another step beyond that, because this is difficult stuff to take in.
But Netflix is no slouch to changing how entertainment works.
No, they're not.
I mean, they've taken these chances before, and it's proved successful for them.
I'm just saying that I see it as a bold step. I'm not gainsaying it. I'm not saying that's a bad step yet. I'm kind of in a wait and see category. I'm definitely going to watch the film. I heard about a review on it on NPR.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're doing a really good job of getting some marketing out there where they can. But I do feel Mitchell's trepidation on it in that,
Is it worth your dollar? Is it worth your extra dollar?
Is this worth anyone's dollar?
Right.
$12 a year.
Yeah, and even if they were to put it out in the movies as well, because I know they're probably trying to hedge their bets. They're probably, they want money. They want the awards accolades for it, just like they've gotten from Orange is the New Black and House of Cards. But at the same time, they know that if it doesn't get that, then they've wasted money that they will be getting back from that one extra dollar. But maybe they can also get another $10 to $12 at the box office per person as well. So I mean, I don't know. It's weird. I think that it would have been a better executed idea had they picked something that was safer of a topic, something that more of their audience would want to see. But they have analytics saying that people like shows like House of Cards and Orange is the New Black before they ever greenlight those shows.
I still say that it would have been a better move had they have just offered to release it in the theaters and not release it at both at the same time.
Yeah, I think that's the mistake.
That was
release it in theaters, and then when follow the normal progression.
But
things go out in theaters, and then when things normally would go out on DVD, that's when you would stream it.
And they wouldn't even have to wait that long because they film knowing their format. So
so they could just go ahead and pump it whenever the movie theaters come out.
Yeah, and that's
an excellent point. Once it's done in the U.S. market, put it on Netflix. And, that way your turnaround time, people would, if you made a great movie,
that would be awesome.
Like even something like The Defenders, put The Defenders out as a Netflix movie and actually put it out in the movie theaters and see how many people actually view it. And then once it leaves the movie theaters in the U.S. Market, go ahead and put it on Netflix in the U.S. market because that then you are instantly gratified. Yeah, I mean that would be a much better system to me.
And you would get the people that are going to go to the movie theater anyway, and you would also pull people that may want to wait, but may go to the movie theater. Like, you pull those people on the fence, and then everybody would watch it again.
Yeah. Everybody wants to see Daredevil right now on the silver screen. Everybody wants to see.
The Daredevil that Netflix has produced. Because we've seen Daredevil on the silver screen.
Well, yeah, absolutely. But everyone wants to see this version.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, and They keep saying, well, I don't know if it's going to mix. There's two different genres, basically. And it's pretty much been said that you will not see Daredevil on the silver screen. This is your chance to see him on the silver screen. And I think people would go in droves to see it and prove Marvel wrong and maybe even pull the new Matt Murdock into the Marvel universe finally for the silver screen.
Well, and we're going to hit on that topic in future episode, definitely.
Absolutely.
And like I said, it was a big month for Netflix. A lot of movies left. A lot of movies came in. I'd suggest doing a Google and finding out. Everything happened around the 1st of October, just about. So Google that up, check it out. If you're not a Netflix subscriber, I would suggest it just for Daredevil, just for that small conversation about Daredevil. But also, you're going to have theatrical releases soon.
And we are here now to talk about Hulu. Now, for those who don't know, Hulu is now offering a new service for their subscribers, ad-free streaming television. Now, the catch to it is, they are still doing their normal model, which is, I believe, $8.99.
And they still have the free model.
And they still have the free model, and the free model is, of course, you get a chance to watch these shows sometimes the next day, sometimes a week after it's already aired. But they only have so many episodes, and they drop off. So if you don't watch it within sometimes around 4 weeks, you don't get a chance to see that episode that you missed. Now, with the $8.99 model, you can watch them, season by season. For the most part, you can watch most of the programming from start to finish. If you wanted to wait until the end of Gotham's run this season to watch all of Gotham, you might be screwed. I know, because that happened to me last year. I wanted to go back and watch the Gotham from episode 1, and I couldn't do it. I could only watch the last 4 episodes. Yeah. But for other ones, like, say, Mythbusters, you can watch a whole season. And all of the back catalog. Now, the catch to that is, though, that there's still ads, just like the ads on the in the free subscription. But for, a couple bucks more, $11.99, you can go ahead and watch basically the same content that they offer on the $8.99 model, only you don't get the ads. Now, the thing that I hate about that is that, number one, don't get me wrong, I don't want to see these ads. But then again, at the same time, I might want to get something to drink. It's only about a minute and 30 seconds, so it's not that big of a deal to me.
What is $3?
Is it worth $3 to take away maybe 9 minutes worth of commercials?
Look, those ads are annoying, though. I mean, because
when it's the same one over and over again, they kill me with that.
Yeah. You know what, though? I mean, I'll also talk about it from my perspective. I never pay to get rid of ads. I never pay to get rid of. I am cheap. I'm absolutely cheap. And there is that segment of me's out there. Hi, how you doing? We'll meet up later. I don't pay to skip ads on games. I play the freemium games. They're always free for me because I don't pay for extra stuff. Right. Bottom shelf liquor. Anything I can be. And you know what? Here's the thing. For me, those ads are white noise. I don't even hear them anymore.
No.
I don't even know what...
I will say...
I don't even know what they're selling.
Now that we have tablets and smartphones... Once we got a commercial break, it's like, well, I can do something else. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So I get that. And
the thing about it to me is, I watch YouTube a lot as well, and there's ads in YouTube videos. I mean, all the time. There are sponsored ads, and then there are local ads. I mean, there's a plethora of tiered ads that you can look at whenever you watch any YouTube video. It's like playing roulette. You're trying to figure out if it's going to land on black or if it's going to land on red. It's like, crap, I gotta watch an ad.
At least with YouTube, it's not the same ad over and over again.
Right.
At least it doesn't seem like that.
Sometimes. Yeah. Well, if it's a sponsored ad, it has to play so many times during your viewing.
Even though it's white noise for the Hulu, when it's the same one over and over again, I start to hear it more. Yeah. It's like beating into my head.
We can't because don't let it in. Yeah. Don't let it in.
Well, here's my thing. Also, when it comes down to their programming, like they tout that they have Doctor Who. I've seen the commercials where they say, "Oh, we have Doctor Who on streaming on Hulu," which
all
they do.
Doctor Who?
They have all except for this current season. It is now 4 weeks into Doctor Who, and I have yet to see one episode of the new season on Hulu.
And they also tout releasing stuff the next day or the next week.
Yes, depending on the contract.
Yeah.
Now, you also have Mythbusters, which I know it's been on season 9 for the past 2 years on Hulu. I've not seen any of the new episodes from
Are
this
there new
past
episodes?
year. Yes.
Okay, I didn't even know.
It is still going on. So, I mean, there are things like that kind of upsets me when you decide that you're going to raise the price $3 because, hey, you don't want ads, and we know you don't want ads, so pay us $3 a month extra and we'll get rid of the ads. Well, what else are you going to give us?
I like the idea of a tiered system because if you're fine with the ads now, you don't have to pay anything more. Like with Netflix, you got to pay $1 more.
Right.
Like, there's no choice. With Hulu, you have a tiered system. You can pay nothing and get ads. And a little bit less a lot less content. You could pay something and you'll still get the ads, but the content opens up, the door opens wide. And if you want to get rid of the commercials, just throw another $3 extra a month. And I know some people can't afford that. Some people are cheap. I wouldn't pay it. I'm fine with it. You know, that $3 a month I'm good with. Or, you know, with keeping. I don't want to give it just to remove ads.
Yeah. Well, no. I mean, I don't.
But at least I have the option. At least they're not saying we're getting rid of the ads and everybody's paying $3 more.
Right.
So this is an option that people have.
That's true.
Fred doesn't have to pay more money.
My wallet appreciates that. Thanks you for that.
Yeah. Well, here's a question that across the board. How much would you? What is the maximum amount you would be willing to pay for any of these services?
Well, if you look at them, the price ranges right now is what, $9.99 to $15.99. I think that's HBO Go.
HBO Go is $15 something. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's a good price range for now. But you got to remember, as these companies grow, that price is probably going to go up.
Absolutely.
You know, especially once again with the Netflix, if they start making movies, when Amazon's making shows like Man in the High Castle, these things are worth paying a little bit more for.
Because see, here's the thing: HBO Go is probably the most expensive streaming service on right now. But the reason for that is because it has the content. It's got, obviously, Game of Thrones is really hot. It has historically The Sopranos. And it has Entourage. And it has all this stuff. Girls is real popular. Sex in the City.
And new episodes of everything they're doing
New episodes of everything. Plus, they actually have contracts for blockbuster movies that they can rerun. You know, kind of like Netflix does.
Right.
And, so as he said, as those get bigger, they're going to begin pushing that price up more.
And we're going to start seeing television change too. The movie theater just turned down a movie, because it was going to be released online at the same time.
Right.
So television's going to change too. And I was thinking about it today actually. Television's already changed a little bit. I don't remember watching TV as a kid and seeing anything that was an ABC production. Now when you watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., it's an ABC production. They're putting more money into what they have because they have more competition with the web TV and the web shows that we're reviewing and watching now. All right, so anything else on Hulu?
I think one of the... we're going to have to make this quick, I guess, but, one of the things that I think that they're trying to get that extra coinage on is... I think kind of ridiculous. It's a virtual reality service. Samsung, I believe it is coming out with Samsung VR phone, and in order to keep with this service, or complement this service, I should say, they're coming out with their own VR brand where you can, if I recall correctly, one of the articles mentioned that you could actually watch Seinfeld, episodes of Seinfeld from the perspective of sitting on the couch in Seinfeld, or you can actually leave your home with your cell phone in your pocket and walk down the street, and if you have 30 minutes to spare, you can go ahead and pull up the Hulu app and look at the VR module and pretend like you're at your house watching TV in a virtual living room. I don't understand.
I don't see a lot of application for it.
Right.
But, I can see how that forces Hulu to start making content, which is a step in the right direction. Because Netflix has already laid out what needs to happen. Amazon's following suit.
Right.
Now, Hulu, they have agreements, but they don't have anything original yet. They would have to develop something.
And see, that's
Hulu does have original content. They have The Awesomes, which is one of their highest rated shows. They've had Quick Draw, I believe, which was their Western comedy. They do have a series of original programming.
There's a reason why I don't know about it.
Well, because for the most part, they aren't they're not or Orange Is the New Black or anything like that. Or Transparent, I believe, is the one that's on Amazon as well that's been getting accolades as well. So, it is not that caliber of production yet. But, I say focus more on the original programming and less on the VR
Get rid of the
content that's
VR.
going to be a fad in a couple years anyway. Again.
Yep. Just like 3D TVs.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I will say this, that is interesting, the idea of having to create and shoot this content for a VR audience, because it's going to change the way movies are made. Think about what we were talking about earlier with The Man in the High Castle, with the cinematography. Now, I can just look around because I'm in the shot. I'm in, and you no longer have me captured. You no longer have my perspective captured. So I do think that at least thinking through those things is going to change the way things are made.
But you'd have to do it during production, and you couldn't sit on Seinfeld's couch, because that's...
Not
Yeah.
as interesting,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, I mean, when I saw that as an example, I thought, what a crappy example. As a matter of fact, the better example would be to, going back to that scene, say, all right, so we have decided to put Easter eggs in all of our programming for that new show on Amazon. So yeah, if you don't have VR, then you get to just watch the lady squirm looking at this show. But if you want to see the special behind-the-scenes Easter egg, you got to get this application where you can be in the chair sitting right beside her.
That's a great,
and you can look at her squirm and then look at what she's watching. And we've made that clip just for you. That would be a better application of VR.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
All right, guys. Well, this has been Cable Crushers.
Absolutely. For Mitchell Brinkley.
Adam Fleeman.
And Fred Swan.
We'll see you in 2 weeks.
Absolutely.
Thanks for joining us.
Take it easy, guys.